You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiro Moguls, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Evers Coaching Systems, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, Bax Max, 5-Star Management, and the Goodman Factor. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 97 of Chiro Hustle. We're coming to you almost live from Oakland, California. I am your co-host Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing a longtime friend of mine, Dr. Tara Hogan, and we talked to her about, so many cool things, but pay attention to the segment where we talk about cranial adjusting. Stay tuned. So the first question, Dr. Tara, is tell us your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor.
So when I was pretty young, I was 22 years old, and I had been an athlete since I was about 10 years old, competing in gymnastics and then track and field and pole vaulting throughout college. And by the end of that period of time with all of the athletics, I was suffering in a lot of pain. I had kept telling my parents that I needed to go to the chiropractor, but they, it was really funny because my dad saw the chiropractor for back pain all the time. And so I would say, well, I have pain in my upper back. And they said, no, you don't need the chiropractor because that's for low back pain. So I eventually developed lower back pain, and I said, now can I go to the chiropractor? And they said, no, chiropractic is not for children. So I suffered through, I think, 4 years of college athletics, going to the trainer every night after track practice, ice baths, lots of, taping and wrapping and this and that, and graduated college and had some chronic lower back issues. And I had a friend, and his dad was a chiropractor, and I was really fascinated with his family because they didn't take medication. He said he had never had a headache in his whole life, and I was really curious, and I thought, well, this is interesting. And the more I learned about the chiropractic philosophy, I really thought it was really intriguing to me. So I started getting adjusted, and after about a year of getting adjusted, I realized that I had absolutely no pain in my body at all. And I decided I was going to be a chiropractor. And when I made that decision, I remember to this day, I was just driving in my car, and I just got chills all over my entire body, just with the thought of being a chiropractor. And I had graduated college with a degree in English and women and gender studies, and I didn't quite know what I was going to do with my life at that point. So when I decided chiropractic, it was kind of out of nowhere, and everybody in my family was like, are you sure? And so I applied and started within, I think, 6 months. And when I got there, I just felt so at home. Like I knew it was the place for me. And so that's kind of my introduction to chiropractic.
And this isn't the typical interview that I do with most people because I don't know a whole lot about most people's lives, but I've been friends with you as you're going through the chiropractic program. And I know that Michael, your husband's a chiropractor, and since you've gone through the program, your sister's gone through the program.
Yep. Mm-hmm. She has. So we've got 3 chiropractors in my family now, and my parents absolutely love that.
Well, it's really cool to hear, too. And I know you guys have a growing family, but what makes you, what would you say what makes you unique in the chiropractic profession?
It's really interesting. I think practicing with my husband, Michael, is really a very unique thing because we came out of the same school, really practicing the same techniques. And in the last, I think we've been in this clinic 8 years.
Woo.
It's been really fascinating to see different passions kind of unfold in our practice. And I had one patient tell me he was getting adjusted by both of us. And he said, well, he's like the He-Man of chiropractic. And you're like the elven princess from Lord of the Rings. And I was like, okay, I think that's the perfect description of how we work. Michael is very, he's an incredible, incredible chiropractor because he's so obsessed with technique, which is wonderful because, whatever he learns, he gets to share with me. And I am really passionate about intuition, using my intuition, my intuitive skills, but also, I feel like I get the best of both worlds, using my educated mind and my innate mind, and being able to kind of find things that I maybe wouldn't have found in patients by using that. So I'm also a little bit more gentle in my approach to chiropractic. I do some cranial adjusting, which I love. It's just fascinating to me, and the results are just incredible to see, like total transformations of people and children, especially since the way we're being born these days can be really disturbing to the cranium. So I think that's kind of what makes us a little bit different, but also, the feminine, I think we really balance that feminine and masculine energy in our office. So yeah, I think that's what kind of sets us apart.
Well, I just kind of want to get a little controversial there. You said something about doing cranial adjusting. And I know that chiropractic becomes a very, we do this, we don't do that. How do you respond to that if people tell you that cranial adjusting isn't chiropractic?
Oh, that's interesting. I thought I came out of school just like guns a-blazing for chiropractic, and I really felt like the only way we could heal was through chiropractic for a long time. And I kind of, I just blew off every other modality because I was so passionate about chiropractic. I thought, acupuncture, that's nothing, essential oils, like I kind of poo-pooed a lot of these other kind of healing modalities. And then I just kind of started watching patients, and I just kind of, I guess, opened up to, like, this isn't the only, like, end-all be-all way for people to heal. And I really kind of fell into this cranial adjusting out of a need for my own child. And I actually took the ICPA's course in cranial adjusting with Dr. Martin Rosen, who's a fabulous teacher. I took it twice and studied in between it over a period of 2 years, which I think was the best way to do that because he has so much information to offer. But it really, it's just another healing modality. And to me, if it's chiropractic or not, my patients are getting better. So I guess that's my answer.
No, it's cool. I just know that a lot of times we have a vast audience, and they're going to obviously be like, well, what is this cranial adjusting stuff, and is that chiropractic? And I just think it's easier to dispel people's confusion with your reasoning behind why you fell in love with cranial work, instead of just letting people that listen to this in a passing phase be like, she said cranial adjusting.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. And I think what's really awesome about our practice is that, we do focus a lot on upper cervical. And if they're with my husband, Dr. Michael, and they're not getting better, and he believes that maybe there's a subluxation above the atlas, so to speak, like he'll send them my way and I will look at their cranium. Now the sphenoid is, it's right up there, and it's an anchor point for the dura, which that dura extends down over the spinal cord. And so, there can be a subluxation up there. So in my eyes, I'm just in this to correct subluxations. So that's just like one more tool that I have in my basket to be able to use, especially, if they're not getting better with upper cervical or whole spine or whatever it is. That's just one more tool I get to use to find the subluxation.
So do you have any favorite quotes or motivational words of wisdom that keep you fired up every day?
Oh, tons. I'm really, right now, I've been really focused on the quote, I was born to do this. And it's, I think, a Joan of Arc quote. And because I think sometimes when you're in a group of people and they maybe don't get chiropractic, and you see an opening to introduce chiropractic, but you are unsure that it's maybe not going to be received very well, I try to tell myself, you were born to do this, and if you don't say anything now, that might be, more suffering for that person or for humanity. So for me, that's kind of been my mantra for the last couple months is, I was born to do this. I really feel I was called to do what I'm doing because it feels so right and so in alignment, so to speak. And so that's something that I really focus on a lot. And also, I have like these little flashcards. I love Gabby Bernstein. She's kind of a spiritual teacher, and she has these little card sets, and there's tons of affirmations, and so I will let the universe guide me to one of those quotes every day. But also, we just have all these cards floating around our house all the time, affirmation cards, and also Dr. Fred Schofield's affirmation cards. We use those quite a bit at our house too.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really important when we can like dial ourselves in with a mantra and a meaning. And after we've done so many of these interviews, people have had a chance to interview me as well. And people ask me what kind of motivates me. And one of the things I like to share with them is what I do today is important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. And if you think about it with those terms of I was born to do this, then you pair that together. Yeah. Now you get some real definitive, like, it's not just a big idea picture, but it's a daily, motivational movement.
Absolutely. Now,
honestly, Tara, that's one of my favorite things about doing this type of medium is we get a chance to collaborate with people with our feelings and thoughts and emotions. And, back in the day, my mom always used to tell me, you're only as good as the company that you keep. And as I developed with life, now on average, I talk to a doctor a day, a chiropractor. So, it's really awesome. It's really cool now that the people that I assimilate with are leaders in their communities. They're leaders in this beautiful profession. And it's really cool that what I do today is important. And it is an exchange. And as I got more into doing the film work that we do, I didn't even realize what the ideas around equal exchange were. And as I've developed more too, I realized that when we share time with you like today for this interview, it's an equal exchange. And we benefit from it as much as we can offer our services to you, and I think there's a lot of symbiosis with where you've come and where you are today with your mindset around being what chiropractors are to me as healers. And I think it's really cool that you said, you know what, I do this, I love to do this is my life, and these are the reasons I do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I think, gosh, chiropractors are just such good company, and that's why we train with Dr. Fred Schofield, because just getting together and resetting and coming back into this like home alignment of chiropractic and chiropractic talk, and it's kind of funny because we get together with my family, and there's three of us chiropractors now, and sometimes like the other family members are like, when are they going to stop talking about chiropractic? But it's just it's totally infused in who we are, and we wouldn't have it any other way. And we just I don't know, we're just so aligned with the lifestyle, and when you're living that lifestyle, I think too, it's like you have even more energy to be able to give, to be able to exchange with people.
So how do you think chiropractic might change if more doctors did cranial adjusting?
I don't know. I think it would be great because, well, and I think specifically in the realm of children, the way that kids are being born is really, it's the amount of birth injuries that we're seeing just with the way, there are in our own town. I know like our C-section rate is pretty high. So, not being able to go through the birth canal and get proper cranial molding, it will disturb the way that child functions, as like even with their brain function. So I think that if we could really get a good handle on getting kids just checked cranially after birth, especially if it's been a rougher birth, I think it would be really, really helpful. I think if more people took an interest to it, it's complex, and it takes study and it takes effort to learn this way of adjusting. So I think that's why maybe people don't want to do it, but I think it would benefit people, humanity in general.
So where do you see the chiropractic profession going in the next 20 years?
I am a very positive person, so I see it going, I see people utilizing it more than ever in the future, because I think people are really disheartened with the care they're getting with medicine. And I have so many people coming to me who have been everywhere and were their last ditch effort. And I think people are wising up to it. And so I'm hoping that, chiropractic can rise to that occasion, because I think people are looking for us now more than ever. And hopefully they will be able to find more of us in the future.
Yeah, that's a really important stance, and I think positivity is a great thing to glean on. Let's turn the page back a little bit now and ask you another question. This is unscripted. I love these type of questions. As you can tell, I like to get the person on the other end to not be so easy on them. But
nice.
But what would you say is the most important thing to happen in chiropractic over the past decade?
The most important thing to happen?
Yes.
In the last decade? Social media. I think social media is one of the most important things, because I think that there's so much mind control going on with mainstream media and television that I think social media people are able to speak their truth. And, I think the louder we get online, the more, if the powers that be, don't put the kibosh on that, but like the louder we get, the more influence that we can have. And for me, it's this idea of celebrity in a way. Like if we can become more celebrity, then people like pay attention to that. I think people, I just know from my own experience of doing Facebook Live videos that people kind of like know me or recognize me, or I saw your video, and I'm on like the shopping cart. Like I have an ad on the shopping cart, and people just kind of know who I am. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, I know you," even if they're not my patient. They're like, "Oh, I've seen you before. I know you." And I think that when you can also be personable and show people like, I'm a normal person like you. Like chiropractors are people just like everybody else. Like, some people are like, I remember I was at this like women in business function, and I was just having a really great conversation with this other lady. And then she was like, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a chiropractor." And she was like, "What? Like, she said, "You seem so normal." And so it's like, if we can get out there and show our faces and show, like, for me, my whole thing is like, I'm the unconditional chiropractor. I just want to love people. And I just want to show people like, like I'm just unconditional love. And I'm here on a mission to help people heal. And I think if we can really show that and show like we're trustworthy, right, then maybe more people would, come. I guess that's a long answer.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiro Moguls, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Evers Coaching Systems, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, Bax Max, 5-Star Management, and the Goodman Factor. Let's hustle.
So what kind of marketing tactics do you guys enjoy the most? What have you found to work better than other things?
For us, we are in a fairly small town. So like we have used newspaper ads and done, kind of like the old school style of marketing.
I love it.
I guess. And then, like we have like these little coffee news things that we're in, and we've just been in it. And I think for us, it's kind of been like, if they can see you 3 times, then they're going to come in. So like I'm on the shopping cart, like in a running pose, like, so like I'm there, and then we're in like coffee news, and then we're in the newspaper. And so like for us, it's kind of like they've seen us a few times, and they're like, oh, and we have, like our location is in a super busy like part of town. So people will see that and they drive by it and they're like, oh, maybe I should do that. And so I think that's kind of what we've done. But I think right now we're really getting more into kind of the social media aspect of things. So I just finished shooting a video with a long-time patient of ours who has a really, really awesome testimonial story. And so I think what I'm going to start doing is more professional videos just to get out there and get people's stories heard. Because this patient of ours, she was 23 years old and she had an extruded disc, had been everywhere, and been told she was just going to suffer in chronic pain for the rest of her life. And she has healed, and she can do handstands, and she is, after 2 years of care, like super vibrant and amazing. And she is just like, why don't people know about this? And so she kind of tells everybody she knows, but we decided to do a video just again, like, to put a face on it. See that this is a real person. She's really been healed, and just to kind of show, and show and tell and get people's stories told. Just like with Project Patient, I think that's what that's going to do, and it has all of the human emotion, wrapped up in that, and I think people really respond to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things you said there, like, kind of bring a good feeling to me, because I think that everybody listening to this will realize that every market's different. We just signed up somebody for our new Patients in a Box strategy systems, and they're in Israel, and the chiropractor's in Israel, and he was asking me, so how do you know that what you have in your program can work effectively when you don't know the way that my culture is? And I said, if you do what I explained to you in this, it works in any culture, bro. I was like, you just have to go out there and do the work and set up the events. I was like, there are things that you will get from the old school marketing that will grow your practice the best way possible. I was like, so you have to think of it like bookends. Social media is one end of it. Old school marketing's the other way of it. So if you're in a smaller market, Tara, hell yeah, do your shopping carts. Hell yeah, do your newspaper. Everybody wants to assume that the only thing that works for them is the only thing that will work for others. So I tell everybody to test stuff, and you do your best with it. I mean, don't dump a bunch of money into everything, but find out what's working for you and then stick with it. But I think a lot of people, they want to be hands-off with growing their business. And I think everybody's like, well, I do this, I don't do that. And I'm like, well, you better do that for at least 3 years before you decide you don't want to do that. And I think that that's what we have to realize with the marketing world, is it takes people that find what works in their specific area, and then to amplify that what's working.
Absolutely. And I think for us, we've done so much kind of print and all of that. We've brought in like a certain crowd of people, and I think that now, like, if you want to reach the younger generations, you have to be online. So, that's what we're kind of figuring out. We've got a great Medicare crew, but like, my heart is with pregnancy and babies and children, and so that, is going to be more, I think, on social media.
Yeah, your audience is everywhere, but you just had to kind of figure out where the people, they always say, in the marketing world, they said, find out where your people that you're interested in congregate, and then go show up there.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So do you have a favorite social media or app to keep you engaged with your practice members?
I like Facebook and Instagram. I started a Facebook page called The Unconditional Chiropractor. And so that's kind of been an outlet for some of like my creative, just kind of being creative with certain things in chiropractic. But I mean, I think too, again, like just showing your personality and being who you are and showing the chiropractic lifestyle. I really kind of focus my Instagram stuff on that, showing my kids eating their vegetables, or, doing activities, and even just like what we're into, I think people, or like, just sharing kind of maybe even like realizations that you have, or, I think, I think I really enjoy both of those most.
Yeah, I think Instagram's, people always want to like categorize who pays attention to what, like who's on Facebook, the old people, who's on Instagram, the new people. And it's like, I think everybody has to figure out the multi-pronged approach to get the old people, to get the new people, to get the old school marketing systems going, to get the new school marketing systems going. And it can be like a whirlwind of like, I can't breathe and I can't run my practice, and how the heck am I going to pay attention to doing videos?
Right. Well, and I think for me, like, it's like, ooh, I get an idea, and then, like, you're excited about it, and then, okay, I'm just going to do a Facebook Live. Like, that's easy. It doesn't have to be hard, like, schedule it out or whatever. Like, I think, and just being who you are, and showing what the chiropractic lifestyle is like. I think people are interested in that. So, people are sharing stuff everywhere. Just, like, make it meaningful. If you're a chiropractor, make it meaningful.
Well, I think it was 3 years ago, Tara, that I spoke at the event at the Pie House, Pilosophy, and I said, "Do you guys know why I'm here tonight?" And then, scantily show of hands were like, "Oh, because you're this or you did that." I go, "No, it's because I post 5 times a day on social media."
Awesome.
And, that's just it, is I knew where my audience was.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was a hungry tribe of people that needed leadership that wasn't chiropractic voice. And I knew that there was a hungry crowd that needed some, a trusted resource to bang the drum and be in the band that wasn't a licensed chiropractor.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
And that's why I knew that when, you were mentioning, I do it here because I want to appeal to this demographic. Or I do this because I think that, people that don't know me will get a better reach for me. And I think that everybody needs to pay attention to this conversation we're having today, because I think the more that people realize that they are a local community superstar, they are, you guys are super, super important to your local community.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, if we're going to have a better humanity or better community, like, the less subluxated everybody is, the better.
Amen. And I think that the more that we utilize the things that are at our access point, the barrier of entry is so low out them right now that I think eventually Facebook Lives will cost money. I think eventually sending emails to people will cost money. I think that they're going to monetize everything eventually, and it's, running AdWords is going to cost money. It's going to cost more. So people that are in the flow right now, they should all set up a strategy for themselves so they get in while the barrier of entry is almost no charge except for your time.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just like with anything that's a living being, it has to adapt. So, we've got to adapt to that environment.
So tell us about some of your hobbies or things that you do in your spare time. Are you in the middle of any books right now?
So I think I wrote this when you guys were asking me questions before this, but I'm really a very sporadic and reader. I read lots of things unless I get really kind of hooked on something. But I listen to a lot of stuff on Audible, and right now I'm kind of doing. I'm really into Brene Brown, and I'm doing Dare to Lead, that book, and it's wonderful because it's really helping me wrap my mind around being more of a leader. Because I think when I started into this profession, I didn't have a whole lot of self-confidence, and being a chiropractor has really pushed me to like realize that I have a role as a leader. So that's kind of something I'm focusing on, trying to be a better leader. And then I'm also into, I'm also into Gabrielle Bernstein's stuff. I just finished this last book on vacation called The Four Agreements. I'm really kind of like a self-development junkie. I'm always into something, but that book was really a good book for me at this point. And then I listen to Mel Robbins all the time, and yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been up to lately.
Well, I think it's cool that you shared that with us, because I can't do audiobooks. I'm such a tactile person that I like to like make notes, and after I'm listening to an audiobook, I'll like make a note, and I like have to listen to the same chapter like 100 times, and I never finish anything. So
well, I will say this. I will, like, with a couple of these books, I bought the hard copy book and the audiobook because because I'm a mom and I'm like running around everywhere, like it's really easy for me to put headphones on and be cleaning the house or whatever and listening to something. But then if I'm like, oh, I really need to see that, like I need to circle that or make notes or whatever, then I have the book. So I've done that, like I think I've done that a few times with Gabrielle Bernstein's book and with one of Joe Dispenza's books. They're kind of heady. So like I'll get the hard copy and I'll do both. And then when I get a moment, like I get to actually read, like I would much prefer to read it. But really it's more of a convenience thing for me. I just want the knowledge.
yeah, and Luke, he loves audiobooks, and he'll jump right into like a whole like, Stephen King style book that's like 95 chapters, and he'll be able to listen to that whole thing. And I would spend like an hour and I'd get like one chapter. And it's challenging, but then again, I get like a 150, 200 page book, and I'll get through that thing quick, and I'll make notes, and I'll digest it, and I just learn differently. So it's always fun for us to like ask people what they're reading and how they like to like digest information too.
Yeah, and I think and also like the way I read things, I kind of play with it in a way. Like I'll be doing like 4 different books. Like I just have books are all over my house, and I'm like, oh, it catches my eye, and I'll open it and I'll read something, and then I'll read something the next day out of another book, and I'll find that somehow they're related. And so like I kind of like to do this like synchronistic reading. I just kind of play with like knowledge and what do I need to learn today, and I kind of put that out there as an intention, and whatever kind of hops off the shelf at me, I'll do. Or sometimes Michael and I, we like on a Sunday, we'll grab a pile of books that are seemingly unrelated and just go through them and just open it up, and we'll read something to each other, and then we'll discuss it. And then it's kind of like our really weird funky book club that we do. But it's so much fun for us because then we just find so much meaning, just very randomly and synchronistically learning like all kinds of really cool stuff.
So give us some web resources and social media links where people can find out more about you and what you're doing.
So my Facebook page is just the Unconditional Chiropractor, and also my Instagram is also the same thing, the Unconditional Chiropractor as well. And that's pretty much where I'm at. And I do have a blog, which I've been neglecting lately, but I do like to write as well. It's a good outlet for me. I have some stuff I should just go ahead and publish on there, but I haven't. But that's also the Unconditional Chiropractor, I think, blog spot.
Well, cool. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that we just didn't ask you?
Well, I did want to say, I think why people are so responsive to you guys is because you have such a great authenticity, and that is something like I've really been making an effort to be intentional about embodying, and I think that's why people too like will respond and follow you guys and listen to you guys, is because of that authenticity. So I really thank you for that.
Well, it's something that you can't hide your emotion. And I think that that's something that we get a chance to not hide. And that's what makes it great, because we want to share. And it's nice to have an audience of people that, emotionally connect with us because of the authenticity. And I think that that's holding so many people back from personal growth. And I think that if people really paid attention to that one core element to their personality, so many more doors would open up for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and for us, for Michael and I think we're very serious about looking at ourselves and try, making an effort to be authentic, and when maybe, like, nobody's perfect. And I think if we can all love and accept each other and realize that and just be authentic with each other, we'll just advance so much more as human beings.
I agree. I want to thank you also for the kind words.
You're so welcome. I love you guys.
And with your support and Michael's support when we were doing our funding for Project Patient, now it's allowed us to give that film to the entire world. So we want to thank you for contributing to our fundraiser a couple months back for our new movie Project Patient, which is going to touch so many more lives because of the contribution from you and Michael. So thank you.
Well, you're so welcome, and it's our pleasure to be in support of anything that is really going to bring more truth and light to chiropractic, because that's our mission, and we're just so happy to have you guys out here reaching out to people and bringing chiropractic.
Well, we're happy to be here too, and I know we probably told all of our funders that the movie would be ready around August, so they're probably really excited that it's finally done.
Yay, I'm so excited. I mean, the trailer, it brought tears to my eyes, so I know it's going to be wonderful and very telling this story, so I'm so excited.
It's just one thing after another. We just have to keep momentum on telling the truth of what chiropractic is and exposing the greatness of the beautiful profession to more people. And I think that if we just look at it as more of consistency, consistency will always win. It's not how fast you sprint, but it's who finishes the race,
Absolutely. Building that momentum.
Mochichu.
Mochichu.
Well, that pretty much wraps up this episode. I want to thank you again for being our guest today, and I know we had fun talking with you.
My pleasure, you guys.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for being our guest today, Tara.
Absolutely. Anytime. And maybe we can get Michael on here sometime.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So say hi to Michael for us, and we just want you to enjoy the rest of your day, all right?
I sure will. You guys too. All
right, thanks, Tara.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.